والله يدعو إلى دار السلام ويهدي من يشاء إلى صراط مستقيم.
That man was Muhammad, the best of creation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to a new episode of your program, Correct Your Recitation. This is indeed your chance to learn how to recite the Quran properly and also learn the meaning of what you recite. Once again, I would like to remind you with our phone numbers in the beginning of this live episode. Our area code, that's 00202 38555 248 or 249. You can also contact us via email. Emailing us at email address tajweed@huda.tv. In the beginning of this episode, I would like to welcome all of you and also our guests here at the studio. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We'll begin this segment with learning the meaning of a few verses by the end of Surah Al-Kahf. We're approaching the end of this great surah. Then hopefully, inshaAllah, afterward, we'll begin with Surah Yasin and similar beautiful surahs, inshaAllah. It is still the story of Dhul Qarnayn. I will recite segment by segment, then elaborate on the meaning of these verses, inshaAllah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ويسألونك عن ذي القرنين قل سأتلو عليكم منه ذكرا إنا مكنا له في الأرض وآتيناه من كل شيء سببا فأتبع سببا. At that, let's learn the meaning of the three verses. Allah the Almighty says, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ, they are asking you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Do you remember who's asking Prophet Muhammad about Dhul Qarnayn?
Quraysh.
The Meccans, right?
Yes.
Who inspired them? I mean, the Meccans have no clue whatsoever about Dhul Qarnayn, Gog and Magog, and whatever. So, who inspired them?
Jews.
The Jewish rabbis in Al-Madinah inspired the Meccans to test Muhammad. If he was a true prophet, he would give the right answer. Because this is the knowledge of the unseen. This is something happened in ancient nations. Way before Muhammad was born. Not too many people know about it, only the scholars of the people of the scripture. So they are asking you, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, about Dhul Qarnayn. Say, I shall recite to you something of his story. And we should not exceed the limit. Whatever will be mentioned in this narration of Surah Al-Kahf, also in the Sound Hadith, will limit our understanding to that. We would not follow the Israelites and the weak narrations and the fabricated ones, because we have already an enough sound text to follow. So what is the story of Dhul Qarnayn as it is stated in this beautiful surah? Allah the Almighty begins by saying that إِنَّا مَكَّنَّا لَهُ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَآتَيْنَاهُ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ سَبَبًا. Indeed, we establish him in the earth and we give him the means of everything. What do you mean? The means of the leadership, of domain, of kingdom, to rule the east and the west, and that's why he was called Dhul Qarnayn, the two horns, pointing one towards the east and one towards the west. Well, it is very interesting, it is so beautiful to have the means, but guess what? Some people do have the means, but they do not know how to utilize them. And others are able to utilize the means, but they're deprived from such means. So, Dhul Qarnayn, Allah the Almighty praised him in the Quran and said, وَآتَيْنَاهُ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ سَبَبًا. So He established him in the earth, and He provided him with the means of such establishment. Those means, the Quran did not talk about them. So we should not start to guess, give wild or educational guesses or scientific fictions that he had a flying rug or phantom or F-16 or whatever. We don't know. We would limit ourselves to what Allah the Almighty says. وَآتَيْنَاهُ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ سَبَبًا. whatever you can imagine, Allah the Almighty provided him with in order to rule over the entire globe. As we will see how he managed to do that. The Quran will tell us that he traveled through the earth, once to the west, and once again to the east, then to the north. So he had the power of traveling without aircrafts, without airborne. He had the power of reaching to the other end of the world in no time. Allah the Almighty enabled him and powered him with such means. فَأَتْبَعَ سَبَبًا. You will find the literal meaning of فَأَتْبَعَ سَبَبًا, verse number 85. Then, so he followed the way. He traveled through the earth, utilizing those means which Allah the Almighty provided him with. So, he ended up the first station. The Quran, in this story, Allah the Almighty will tell us about 3 stops, which will concern us most, to know, to have a glimpse of the reality of Dhul Qarnayn. What did he used to do? Who was he? The first stop was at the east, the eastern side of the world. حتى إذا بلغ مغرب الشمس, at the place where the sun sets. Not the actual setting of the sun, but where it sits in our world. وجدها تغرب في عين حمئة. If you remember the word حمئة, there is a similar word where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exactly informed us where He created Adam from. From what? من صلصال من حمأ مسنون. Dried mud, clay. So it is dark and muddy. I want you to imagine with me, before we go into the meaning of this verse, that if you ever went to the shore at sunset once, the beach, the ocean drive, or the seas, what do you see? When the sun is setting, you think that the sun is sitting in the middle of the water, right?
Yes.
There is another thing. When the sun reflects its light and sunlight against the water turns dark.
Yeah.
It appears as black. So that is the meaning of hami'atin. So it could mean hot from hami'ah, or it could mean from min salsalin min hama'in masnoon, muddy, dark area. Anyway, the Quran tells us that the first stop, as stated in the surah, that Dhul Qarnayn traveled until he reached the place where the sun sets, at the water. So he saw that the sun was sitting in a muddy area, a dark water. And وجدها تغرب في عين حمئة ووجد عندها قوما. At this place he found a people, some people. Who were they? We don't know yet. Allah the Almighty said, قُلْنَا. The pronoun قُلْنَا, we said. Who's saying? Allah the Almighty. So He inspired Dhul Qarnayn somehow. قُلْنَا يَا ذَا الْقَرْنَيْنِ إِمَّا أَن تُعَذِّبَ وَإِمَّا أَن تَتَّخِذَ فِيهِمْ حُسْنًا. You are with the choice. Either to punish them or to treat them with kindness and reward them. Why? That means Allah the Almighty gave him the means and also gave him the power of utilizing those means, and most importantly, He gave him the wisdom as how to use those means in the best fashion. And it appears to us, Mustafa, from this verse that those people mainly were either rebellious or disbelievers. Or why would Allah the Almighty order Dhul Qarnayn or give him the choice to punish the believers or the righteous ones? So until he reached the sitting place of the sun, he found it sitting in a spring of black, muddy or hot water. And he found near it a people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspired him, Dhul Qarnayn. Either you punish them or treat them with kindness. And now Dhul Qarnayn is going to utilize this wisdom and the religious knowledge which Allah the Almighty bestowed upon him. And this is how Allah praised them in the Quran. He said, قَالَ أَمَّا مَنْ ظَلَمَ فَسَوْفَ نُعَذِّبُهُ ثُمَّ يُرَدُّ إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِ فَيُعَذِّبُهُ عَذَابًا نُكْرًا. As far as the wrongdoers, the disbelievers and the rebellious ones, then He said He will punish him. Then he will be brought back unto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the Day of Judgment, who will punish him with a terrible torment and hell. May Allah provide us with His shelter and refuge from the torment of hellfire. Ameen. So He was wise enough to distinguish between the good and the people. And He was not going to generalize the punishment, to distinguish. He's going to punish the evil ones, the wrongdoers. وَأَمَّا مَنْ آمَنَ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا فَلَهُ جَزَاءً الْحُسْنَى وَسَنَقُولُ لَهُ مِنْ أَمْرِنَا يُسْرًا. But as for him who believes in the oneness of Allah and works righteousness, why shall I punish him? He shall have the best reward, paradise. And Dhul-Qarnayn said, and we shall speak unto him the mild and good words, instruct him, give him a good admonition. ثُمَّ أَتْبَعَ سَبَبًا. So his mission in this part of the world, the eastern part, the western part, was done. He delivered the message and he punished the people who deserved to be punished. Then he followed another way. He traveled to the other side of the world. The Quran says, حَتَّى إِذَا بَلَغَ مَطْلِعَ الشَّمْسِ وَجَدَهَا تَطْلُعُ عَلَى قَوْمٍ لَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُم مِّن دُونِهَا سِتْرًا. In this verse, Allah the Almighty says, until when He came to the rising place of the sun, the eastern part of the world, He found it rising on a people for whom we, Allah the Almighty says, had provided them with no shelter against the sun. What would you understand from that, Mustafa?
It was hot there.
It was hot? Maybe. And it could also mean that those people were backwarded, were inferior, were not as civilized. They didn't know how to construct homes to shelter them from the extreme sun rays and the heat of the sun, right? So they were living in the open, like in the desert. So either way, and that we learn from this ayah, that those people were not provided with any shelter against the sun. Either in some place where the sun was always permanent, like some parts of the world, the day is always, most of the day there is sunrise. For instance, such as in the southeastern part of Africa, it's extremely hot, the sun stays there most of the day. So this is similar to this place, for instance. Or those people did not have the capacity of building and constructing shelters to provide them with the shade or protect them against the sun. كَذَلِكَ وَقَدْ أَحَطْنَا بِمَا لَدَيْهِ خُبْرًا. Allah the Almighty tells us whatever Dhul-Qarnayn was doing, whether when he traveled to the western part or to the eastern part, or inshallah later on we continue in the next episode when he traveled up north, that we were aware with his movements, with his actions. So it was, and we knew all about him. About whom? About Dhul-Qarnayn. So this person, Allah the Almighty praised him in the Quran. He was provided with the means of power, and he was provided with knowledge and wisdom, and he utilized whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided him with in order to establish justice and the truth in this world. Insha'Allah Azza Jal.
Sheikh, excuse me.
Go ahead.
The message I got from the first story, that he used his means to perform the justice in this
True.
community. And
True.
But I always get confused when it comes to the next story. I don't know what is the message yani Allah wants us to deliver us in this.
This is a very good one. In this story, as I said, Allah the Almighty is giving us scenes, take a glimpse at some parts of His journey without going into details. And remember one thing, the main reason behind the quotation of this story in the Quran was what? To answer the question of the Jews, and to verify the prophethood of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Similar to if you find a watch, then this watch is a very expensive one. You find a Movado or a Rolex watch, and it's worth thousands. If you say, I found a Rolex watch, you'll find many people claiming the watch is theirs, right? But you say, I found a watch. Somebody popped up and said, it's mine. Say, can you describe it? So when he starts saying that it is Rolex, and it's diamond, and 1, 2, 3, 4, so he gave you most of the traits of the oil. You say, enough, this watch is yours. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us a glimpse with the, something happened thousands of years before Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that he tells them that he traveled to the west, then he traveled to the east, then he traveled to Bayn al-Saddaini, as we will get to continue inshallah in the next episode, that gives a confirmation to those who have knowledge of this story that this man is not a sorcerer. He's neither a sorcerer nor a fortune teller or a soothsayer. He is a true prophet. Brothers and sisters, we'll leave it right there to be continued, inshaAllah, with the third stop and the most important stop of Dhul Qarnayn in the next episode. But inshaAllah, we'll take a short break and return back very soon, so please stay tuned.
Recite it every day and do read it loud.
Anyone who chooses other than Islam as a religion, as a way, it won't be accepted from him. This Quran has to be understood by the way the companions of Rasulullah understood the Quran. We disconnect ourselves from the actions of certain Muslims who oppress people and kill people unjustly.
Recite it every day and do read it loud.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. Inshallah, in this segment we're going to study a very important lesson related to the characteristics of the letters. It is the tafkhim and the tarqiq, the fattening and the thinning. Fattening what and thinning what? The letters. Sometimes we recite some letters and we feel that they are very fat. And some letters are very thin. I'll give you an example. When I say Sa, Sadaqallahu, Qul Sadaqallahu. Look at the Sa. And the Sin, Sayaqulu Sufaha. Sayaqulu Sufaha. So the Sin is very thin, while the Qaf, the Sad, the Ta, the Dha are very heavy and fat letters. So this is all about at-tafkhim wa at-tarqiq. And insha'Allah, in this lesson, we're going to learn which letters should be mufakhama, fat, which letters should be thin, and sometimes there are certain letters which are hanging in between, depending on the vowel that precedes it or follows it. We'll learn all about that, inshallah. First of all, that we have to understand what is the definition of the term tafkhim. Tafkhim, as I just said, is fattening or enlargement, to make something big, large, to fill the mouth with. That is the literal meaning. The applied meaning, and I mean what the applied meaning is, the definition of التفخيم according to the scholars of Tajweed and the recitation of the Quran. They said, التفخيم is a heaviness that enters the body of the letter. Yes, we had an anatomy of the Arabic alphabet in the very beginning of this program, and we learned how to pronounce each letter. You remember the articulation points?
Yes.
So the letter has a body. And if you want to fatten the letter, you enter a heaviness into the body of the letter so that the mouth is filled with its echo. How? By elevating or raising the posterior part of the tongue to the roof of the mouth. And that would give you a greater space between the mouth and the lower part, between the tongue and the lower part of the mouth. And focusing the pressure of the letter to the roof of the mouth. This is a technique or the mechanism of fattening the letter or entering some heaviness in the letter. Once we start to practice, we'll find it very easy to understand the applied meaning of tafkhim versus tarqiq. But the meanings are very important in the beginning, especially for those who are recording and writing right after us right now. What about the linguistic meaning of tarqiq? Tarqiq is thinness, or thinning the letter. Its applied meaning, it is a thinness that enters the body of the letter so that the mouth is not filled with its echo. Look at S versus As. As. S. So which one is fat and which one is thin?
The sad one is fat.
Sad obviously is very fat.
And the
Mufakhama.
sin, yes.
And the sin is
Thin.
very
Thin.
thin. Okay. The Arabic letters accordingly are divided into 3 groups with regards to the tafkhim and the tarqiq. Hey, wait a minute. You said it's only tafkhim or tarqiq. So it should be only 2 groups. No. Because there are letters which are permanently fat,
Yes.
mufakhama. And there is another group which is permanently
Thin.
muraqqaqa, or thin, as Ahmed said. And in between there are certain letters which are affected by the conditions, by the environment. So sometimes the same letter, you will find it thin, and sometimes you will find it fat.
Yeah.
Let me give you just a quick example. Recite the Basmala.
Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim.
You just said Bismillah, Bismillah, right?
Yes.
What happened to the lamb? It is very thin. The lamb of the majesty word, the name of majesty, Allah. You said Bismillah, right?
Yeah.
But I want you to say adhan. What are you going to say?
Allah.
Allah. Allahu Akbar. So the lamb is fat.
Yes.
It's very fat. Mufakhama. Depending on what? Depending on the conditions which surround the letter, the circumstances. So that's why there are some letters which are not decided, waiting on the conditions. So now we have 3 groups. Letters that are always mufakhama. These are 7 letters put together in the group khussa, ضغط, قض. Khussa, ضغط, قض. How many? خاء, صاد, ضاد, غين, طاء, قاف, and ظا.
7.
That's 7 letters. Khussa, ضغط, قض. Those letters, by the way, are known as the letters of al-isti'la. Al-isti'la is the 3rd characteristic of the characteristics of the Arabic letters, where the letters will be recited by raising or elevating the tongue to the upper palate, towards the upper palate. Al-isti'la. Okay? And they are also called the tafkhim letters. So they are isti'la letters and tafkhim letters because those letters are permanently fat. Under any circumstances. Yes, it will vary. Sometimes the level of tafkhim would differ. Because there is a very extreme tafkhim and there is a moderate one and there is the least degree. We'll learn all of that, inshallah. But by the end of the day, they're all tafkhim letters.
Yes.
The second group, the letters that have tafkhim sometimes and tarqiq some other times. Those are 3 letters. الألف المادية. الألف المادية. Depending on the letter that precedes it, it will affect its fate. The second is the lam of the name of Allah, the glorious name of Allah.
Yeah.
A lam, normally, Mustafa, in the Quran, the letter lam, if I want to know the makhraj, the articulation point of the lam, what would you do? Put a sukoon on it, precede it with a hamza, other with fatha or with kasra. So say al, right? It is very thin, very thin. Except in the case of the lam of lafzul jalala, the name of majesty. It will be affected by the preceding vowel. Okay? So the lam normally in the Quran is muraqqaqa, except in this case. The third letter is ar-ra. Sometimes it is mufakham, or sometimes it is muraqqaq. And we, inshallah, will live with the conditions which would affect the fate of the three letters, inshallah, in the future. So there are three letters which are sometimes mufakham, and some other times are muraqqaqa. And the third group of the Arabic alphabet with regards to tafkhim and tarqiq, which are always muraqqaqa. This group consists of, obviously, the remaining Arabic alphabet. So we have 7, always mufakhama, and we have 3, so that's 10. Take them out of 28, so we have 18 letters remaining, that are always letters of tarqiq. Okay. Now, and before we start practicing in the Quran, we need also to study a very important thing, which is that the letters that always have tafkhim, as I said, are also known as the letters of al-isti'la. These letters do not all have the same degree of tafkhim. I just mentioned that. And instead, there are different according to the letters' characteristics. Because khussa, daltin, qidh consists of two groups according to their characteristics. There is a characteristic which is known as itbaq. Ahmed, do you know the literal meaning of itbaq?
Merging?
Adhesion.
Fold.
Yes.
Okay, to fold, tabbaqa, but here it means to adhere to. So there are letters which tend to adhere to the upper palate, to the roof of the mouth. Those letters they all look like each other. The sad, the dad, the ta, and the dha. So those letters are letters of itbaq. There is another characteristic which is called infitah, where you leave a gap between the tongue and the upper palate. So mainly the kha and the ghain and the qaf are under this category. So that's why they're much weaker than the previous group. So the letters of itbaq have more tafkhim than the letters of infitah. I know that some of you are already lost, but inshallah, once we start practicing, we'll explain all of that in details. Every time a letter has a strong characteristic, such as itbaq, its tafkhim is stronger. So again, those letters, kha, sad, dad, ta, ghain, qaf, dha, we take out of them the sad, the dad, the ta, and the dha. Those are the letters of itbaq. And the remaining is of infitah, or opening. The ranking of the letters of khussa, daltin, qidh, according to the strength of tafkhim, is as follows. The strongest is the ta, then da, then sa, then dha, then qa, then gha, then kha. In هذا أخي, especially if the kha comes with kasra. You know what? Why don't we start practicing in order to really absorb what we just studied? The highest level is when the tafkhim letter is followed by a long alif. This is a very important segment. I'll go through it quickly, and inshallah also in the next episode, hopefully we'll once again tackle it. There are 5 letters of tafkhim within the 7 letters themselves. The highest level is when any of the tafkhim letters is followed by Alif maddiya, such as ضاقت, ضاقت,
ضالين.
ضالين. Then the second level is when the letter of tafkhim itself has the vowel fatha. صدق الله, صدق الله. And the third level is when the tafkhim letter, any of the tafkhim letters, how many are they?
7.
7. Have dhamma or page, such as قتل الإنسان ما أكفره. قو, قو, قو. So that is the third level. The fourth level is when the tafkhim letter has a sukun. يغلب, يغلب. So that is the fourth level of tafkhim. And the arrangement is according to the strength of tafkhim. The fifth level is when the tafkhim letter has a kasra, such as صراط and إن هذا أخي. The kha is one of the tafkhim letters. According to this classification, this is a prominent school that classified the levels of tafkhim from the strongest to the least. The verses in the same order. Surah Hud in verse number 77 for your reference. It says, وَلَمَّا جَاءَتْ رُسُلُنَا لُوطًا سِيءَ بِهِمْ وضاق بهم زرعا وقال هذا يوم عصيب. There are several tafkhim letters, but the catch in this ayah is concerning the da. The dad letter is followed by alif.
Alif maddi.
It's a lengthened alif. So the dad is a tafkhim letter, and it is one of the itbaq letters, and it is followed by mad. So this is the strongest tafkhim, the highest level of
تفخيم.
fattening. That's why we say wadah. You fill your mouth with it. In Surah Muhammad, in verse number 16, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Allah the Almighty says, أولئك الذين طبع الله على قلوبهم واتبعوا أهواءهم. Where is the catch? طبع. And look at, it's a symphony that you're very flexible. You're able to change the tone from very tafkhim into tarqiq with the ba. Then the ayn. So you say ta, because it is a tafkhim letter and it has fatha. That is the second level of tafkhim, the second strongest level of tafkhim. Then the ba is a thin letter, and the ayn similarly. So you say ta ba a. So it's a fatal mistake to say ta ba a.
Yes.
What happened to the ba? You messed it up because of the neighboring ta, which is a letter of tafkhim. Then in Surah At-Tawbah, we will study the third level according to the strength of tafkhim. In verse number 87. Allah the Almighty says, رَضُوا بِأَن يَكُونُوا مَعَ الْخَوَالِفِ وَطُبِعَ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ فَهُمْ لَا يَفْقَهُونَ. Again, there are several tafkhim incidents in this ayah. Look at the first one. رَضُوا. The dad has peish or dhamma. So it is mufakhama, and its level is the third level. And the word wa, qu. Please do not say wa. There is no wa whatsoever. It's always wa. Wa. It is one of the tarqiq letters. And it is permanently muraqaqa ya Mustafa. Okay? So no matter where you're from, you should always say wa. وَطُوبِعَ. وَطُوبِعَ. In the remaining 2 minutes or 1.5 minutes, I would like to take the last two examples. In Surah Al-A'raf 101, Allah the Almighty says, كَذَلِكَ يَطُ. يَطُ. Oh, that's a qalqala letter. And it is a tafkhim letter. So this is the fourth level of tafkhim because the letter of tafkhim came with sukun. يَطْبَعُ اللَّهُ عَلَى قُلُوبِ الْكَافِرِينَ. The last example is when the tafkhim letters or any of them comes with kasra or there. Such as in verse number 15 of Surah Nuh, Allah the Almighty says, ألم تروا كيف خلق الله سبع سماوات طباقا. And inshallah, in the next episode, we will study the relationship between the tanween in the following letter. What happened to the gunna? It will be affected also with regards to tafkhim and tarqiq according to the following letter. With this, we finish this segment. And inshallah, after the short break, we'll be ready to practice reciting in Surah Al-Kahf. Please stay tuned. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Recite it every day and do read it loud.
Anyone who chooses other than Islam as a religion, as a way, it won't be accepted from him. This Quran has to be understood by the way the companions of Rasulullah understood the Quran. We disconnect ourselves from the actions of certain Muslims who oppress people and kill people unjustly.
Recite it every day and do read it loud.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. It happens that Shindi is the one who's sitting to my right hand side. So it is the sunnah to begin with the right hand side. Inshallah, we'll start practicing. Go ahead and begin with verse number 83, the beginning of the story of Dhul Qarnayn.
Yeah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ويسألونك عن ذي القرنين قل سأتلو عليكم منه ذكرا.
طيب, before you go to the next verse, where are the tafkhim letters in this ayah?
قل سأتلو.
What about Dhul Qarnayn?
Yeah, and ذو القرنين.
At least we have the qaf in Al-Qarnayn, which is, it has the second level of tafkhim, because it is tafkhim letter,
Yeah.
isti'ala letter, and it is infitah letter, but it has a fatha. So it is the second level according to the strength of tafkhim. So it is Dhil Qarnayn.
And قل the
Third, because it has
ضم.
Dhamma. Excellent. Okay, continue.
إنا مكنا له في الأرض وآتيناه من كل شيء سببا.
Beautiful. Okay, tell me, is there any tafkhim letters here?
The ضاد
Yeah.
in the في الأرض, and it's the last
Exactly, because it has
كسر.
kasra. But still, we didn't say wal-ar fil ardi. As some gravely make that mistake and say fil ardi. Then it became totally different word, and it carries a different meaning. And that's why there is a difference between the dal and the dad. So even though the dad has kasra, but still it is a mufakham letter, even though it is the least degree of tafkhim according to this school. Okay.
فأتبع سببا حتى إذا بلغ مغرب
Remember we said
الشمس.
al-mad al-munfasil.
Yes.
4.
Yeah.
حتى إذا بلغ. Please.
حتى إذا بلغ مغرب الشمس وجدها تغرب في عين حمئة ووجد عندها قوما.
Hold on 1 second. I wanted to alert you and my dear viewers as well to a very important trick, which is حتى إذا بلغ. What is the next word, Mustafa?
مغرب.
It is wrong to say maghrib,
Yeah.
because it is not maghrib. Did we ever include the meme amongst the letters of tafkhim?
No.
Or even the letters which sometimes suffer of tafkhim?
No.
No, never. So the meme is always
Muraqqaq.
harfun muraqqaq. So that's why we always have to say the meme as follows. What is the makhraj of the meme? The lips. M, right? So we should always say, if it is with fatha, such as in the word ma. Then you say magh. Look how you move from tarqiq to tafkhim
From tafkhim
without
to
suffering
tafkhim
of
to
any
tafkhim.
problem. Maghriba. Maghriba. Okay? Continue please. ووجد. Begin the ayah from the beginning. حتى.
Okay. حتى إذا بلغ مغرب الشمس وجدها تغرب في عين حمئة ووجد عندها قوما قلنا يا ذا القرنين إما أن تعذب وإما أن تتخذ فيهم حسنا.
بارك الله فيك. جزاك الله خيرا. حسبك. Mustafa, it is your opportunity now.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. قال أما من ظلم فسوف نعذبه ثم يرد إلى ربه فيعذب به عذابا نكرا. فيعذبه عذابا نكرا.
If you give me a moment, I have something to say. In this ayah, Mustafa, you encountered 3 مد الصلة.
Yes.
What kind of صلة, Ahmad?
صغرى.
صغرى. Where the ha of the pronoun, we prolong it natural mad, حركتين.
Yes.
Right? So in the first one, نعذبه, this ha of the pronoun of the third absent person is preceded by a vowel letter and it is followed by a vowel letter, so we must give it مد الصلة. الصغرى, obviously, because if it is followed by a hamza, then it becomes becomes مد الصلة الكبرى, the major صلة or connecting mad. Okay, I would like to take Sister Shafia from Nigeria, then inshallah Azza Jal, we'll continue. Sister Shafia, if you are with us on the line, please recite the same verse again, verse number 87. قال.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ويسألونك عن ذي القرنين قل سأتلو عليكم منه ذكرا إنا مكنا له في الأرض وآتيناه من كل شيء سببا وأتبع سببا حتى إذا بلغ مغرب الشمس وجدها تغرب في عين حمئة حتى إذا بلغ مغرب الشمس وجدها تغرب في عين حمئة ووجد عندها قوما قلنا يا ذا القرنين إما أن تؤذب وإما أن تتخذ فيهم حسنا قال أما من ظلم فسوف نؤذبه ثم يرد إلى ربه فيؤذبه عذابا نكرا.
جزاكم الله خيرا. Thank you, sister. بارك الله فيكم. I want you now to open. وجزاكم. Thank you for calling.
Interesting program.
وجزاكم. Thank you so much. May Allah bless you. I want you now to open the Quran and look at verse number 86. since you began by reciting, you already adopted prolonging al-mad al-munfasil. So now every mad al-muttasil have to be the same. Munfasil, separated, permissible mad, has to be 4 as we agreed. So you say, حَتَّى إِذَا. Then you say, قُلْنَا يَا ذَا الْقَرْنَيْنِ إِمَّا أَن تُعَذِّبَ وَإِمَّا أَن تَتَّخِذَ فِيهِمْ حُسْنًا. And mashallah, you have a very good recitation. May Allah bless you and your family. You're calling from a very dear country to my heart. The tafkhim letters. Inshallah, this episode will be downloaded to several websites. So please listen to it again. And also during the rerun, the lesson of tafkhim and tarqiq is of great importance, especially for the non-Arabic speakers. I want you to live with it over and over and over until you master pronouncing the letters of tafkhim with tafkhim and separating them from the letters of tarqiq or the letters which are sometimes muraqqaqa or mufakhama. Jazakumullahu khairan. Now I go back to Mustafa, where I said concerning maddu silat al-sughra. نُعَذِّبُهُ ثُمَّ. Then إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِ فَيُعَذِّبُهُ. The word فَيُعَذِّبُهُ عَذَابًا نُكْرًا. It's natural mad, okay? Yes. And the tafkhim letters in this ayah, Mustafa, what are they?
ظ قال وأما من ظلم.
You just passed by one, which is the qaf. Qa. Right? You know what? Because the qaf has a neighboring letter that if you don't pronounce the qaf with tafkhim, it becomes kaf, kala. Yes. Right? So the qaf, then the dha. And I know that you had a little problem with the itbaq and infitah. Now I'm going to ask you, the dha letter is of al-itbaq that adheres when you recite it, when you pronounce it. Does the tongue, the posterior part of the tongue, adhere to the upper palate? Yes. That is an itbaq letter. Yes. Okay. Then what else? Do you have any other tafkhim letters? I guess not. Okay, then continue.
وَأَمَّا مَنْ آمَنَ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا فَلَهُ جَزَاءً الْحُسْنَى وَسَنَقُولُ لَهُ مِنْ أَمْرِنَا يُسْرًا ثم أتبع سببا حتى إذا بلغ مطلع الشمس وجدها تطلع على قوم لم نجعل لهم من دونها سترا.
Okay, Mustafa, I want you to walk with me again through certain stops. When I say حتى إذا بلغ, what is the next letter?
Mim.
Mim. And the mim is permanently a thin letter, right? Yes. But it is followed by a letter of tafkhim. Yes. So it's easy to slip into the tafkhim and say instead of ma, you say ma. I didn't hear somebody saying mama, right? So it is ma, mata, mata. And train yourself to change from tarqiq to tafkhim, then to tarqiq with no problem whatsoever. That is the meaning of giving each letter حقه ومستحقه. It's due rights and characteristics. Yes. So you say حتى إذا بلغ مطلع. And we agreed before that the qalqala letters, qutub, jadd, the qalqala, I personally go to the school which believe that the qalqala tends to go towards the fatha, not the kasra or the following, the previous letter. So you would say مطلع الشمس. Okay? Then, again, وجدها what? What is the following letter?
تطلع.
It is ta. Imagine we say تطلع. What is the difference between the ta and the ta then? You just pronounce two ta's. One with the fatha and one with the sukoon. And in the sukoon you made it seem like it is fatha, so we have two ta's. Rather the first letter is just a ta. And a ta is a permanent muraqqaq letter. So you should say وجدها تطلع. Look at the changes that happen in your mouth cavity when you said تطلع. Okay? وجدها تطلع على قوم لم نجعل لهم من دونها. And Mustafa, من دونها, because there is إخفاء there. Ahmed, okay, in the last couple of minutes, please recite the following verses.
كذلك وقد أحطنا بما لديه خبرا.
It seems like I heard the ba has a paish or dhamma. I want you to repeat the ayah again.
كذلك وقد أحطنا بما لديه خبرا.
Excellent.
ثم أتبع سببا.
The ta, yes, it's a hamst letter, but
yes.
not to the point that you shake it like a qalqala. So it
yes.
is not أتبع, it is أتبع.
ثم أتبع سببا حتى إذا بلغ بين السدين وجد من دونهما قوما لا يكادون يفقهون قولا. قالوا يا ذا القرنين إن يأجوج ومأجوج مفسدون في الأرض فهل نجعل لك خرجا على أن تجعل بيننا وبينهم سدا.
حسبك. Since we ran out of time, inshallah Azza wa Jal, we'll continue in the next episode. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reunite all of us once again. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. And I ask Allah the Almighty by the end of this program to bless us all, those who are sitting here and those who are watching us from home, to teach us what we don't know and to help us to act according to what we have learned. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Brothers and sisters, to increase your iman, read the miracle, recite the Quran. Recite it every day and do read it loud. The verses of Quran are all Muslims' pride. This miracle was revealed over a long time span, sent from Allah to an angel, then to a man. That man was Muhammad, the best of creation. We were chosen to be part of his nation. He gave us a message, and that was Islam. So read this miracle, recite the Quran.